What the hell is up, home workout and bodyweight exercise fans? In today's video of Homemade Muscle, we'll be talking about shoulder development and how the hell do you build those rear delts, you know, that posterior head of the shoulder. So my shoulders look not that bad, as you can see, and that's the reason a lot of people ask me how the hell did I develop my shoulders and how do I isolate the posterior head of the deltoid, the rear deltoid. So first of all, I've talked about isolation and the fact that I'm not a fan of it at all. I prefer training my body through movements, through balance and symmetry of movements, than, you know, focusing on muscles. And you know, that approach, that bodybuilding approach, I think it's wrong. I think it can also be a little bit unhealthy, you know, just trying to isolate specific parts of your body through like special movements and things. I think it's something that is not functional at all. So I train my body through movements. And how the hell do I train my shoulders through movements, and why do my shoulders look that good? Well, first of all, I never had, like, genetically, I never had amazing shoulders. The reason my shoulders look good is because it's about the way I train, and it's also about the fact that I am lean. I'm pretty lean, you know, because just like any other muscle group, if you're not lean, it's not gonna show that much. So as you can see, like, my whole shoulder separates here from the chest, from the whole back, and one of the major factors of that is that, you know, I'm pretty lean. That's why you can see all this like lines over here and stuff. So that's factor number one. You've got to be lean if you want your shoulders to look good. Tip number two is you have to do shoulder presses. Handstand push-ups, which is basically the best bodyweight exercise for shoulder press, is an amazing goddamn exercise. It's completely changed my body. It's transformed my body, my shoulders, and even my arms. You know, you get so much tricep action because, you know, it's an exercise that puts a ton of stress on the shoulder muscle, but, you know, that stress also spreads through the rest of the muscles around it. I also get some action in the upper chest. I get a lot of action in the triceps. So number two, sorry, you should be doing a shoulder pressing exercise, you know. You can start with a progression because, you know, handstand push-ups are difficult, pretty difficult. It got me a couple of months to just get a few good reps. So start with some pike push-ups. After that, move on to pike push-ups with your legs elevated on a table. I've made a tutorial about this. I'll link it above. And slowly build yourself up to handstand push-ups. It's an amazing exercise. You should invest your time in. And, you know, it's gonna produce the bulk of the results for your shoulder, for all three of the shoulder heads, you know. That's the great thing with shoulder press, is that it hits all the three heads of your shoulder. So number three is trying to understand a little bit more the function of the rear delt and how we could isolate it in a way, but not in a way that's, you know, dysfunctional, in a functional way. So your rear deltoid produces maximum work through transverse extension. So what is transverse extension? It's basically this movement over here, pulling backwards. You know, it's like an inverted row, which I do a ton of, which I think is one of the other reasons I get so much action. And transverse extension is basically with your hands, with your grips closed like this, so your shoulder is internally rotated. I use a more neutral grip, but, you know, it doesn't change that much the exercise. You pretty much get the same action. So that's one other exercise you should be doing. I've been talking a ton about inverted rows and how important they are for posture, for strength, for symmetry in your body, for a great physique. I'll link a video above here where I've talked about all these benefits of the inverted row. And number four would be, if you wanna isolate that much the shoulder, the rear delt, You can also do a kind of transverse abduction. So transverse extension is, you know, this here. Transverse abduction is when you do this little thingy. So think of, let me see, think of the exercise like people do in the gyms, like with this, with dumbbells, you know, flies or whatever they're called. I don't even remember the names of these exercises because I never do them. So this exercise keeps your elbows pretty much straight or a little bit bent, but there's no flexion in the elbow joint. And it's another exercise that isolates the shoulders more. If you're at home and you don't have dumbbells, you can use let's think, you can use some bags with sand. You know, you can find a way to do this. I've made a tutorial also about how to make a weighted sandbag. So you could take two backpacks, basically put some sand in them and just, you know, pull them upwards. If you wanna go that in to isolation, my opinion is that you don't really need this one, but I'm just putting it out there for those who really want to go deep into shoulder isolation. So my fifth tip, is this my fifth? I think it's my fifth, is a more general approach in your workouts. Yeah, what I want to say is that shoulder development is not just about doing one thing, it's about the accumulated intensity you get of a lot of things. So the way I see it, shoulders, amazing shoulders, are also a byproduct of a lot of movements. So some of the movements I do in my workouts, especially in the Wolverine challenge, in the superhero home workout I'm working on lately, which will be soon released, is the fact that I do a lot of exercises that add accumulated work on the shoulders. So one arm push-ups, you know, it's an exercise that one would say focuses more on the anterior delt besides chest, but there's so much stabilization needed when you're doing a one arm push-up that basically your whole shoulder locks and stabilizes and, you know, prevents you from falling backwards, sideways. And so that's an exercise your shoulders get a lot of intensity, you know, not directly but indirectly. Number two are one arm lat ups. So this is one of my personal exercises. It's basically doing a pull-up but without bending your elbow. I'll put a video somewhere here or demonstration so you can see what it is. I've also made a video, I'll link it above. So one arm lat ups, one of the reasons that this is an amazing exercise, it's not that it's just about strengthening your grip, but it also uses your shoulders a lot because your shoulders have to lock and isolate and lock your body in that position, so you know you're not swinging a lot. So you know, by keeping the shoulder locked in this exercise, not only are you promoting shoulder health, but again the shoulder gets a lot of additional intensity. So you know, both all three heads again get some stimulated action over there, some simulation. And another exercise are pull-ups. You know, my gymnast pull-up exercises, my gymnast pull-up technique that I've mentioned in a couple of videos before. I've also wrote an ebook about this. I'll put the video up here, all the tips that you can use for doing pull-ups this way, because pull-ups, although they focus a lot on the lats, you know, when you're doing them in a fashion with that special technique I talk in this video above here, there are certain angles, especially at the top position, when you're bringing the chest towards the bar, where you're again sort of in a little bit of an inverted row. So you know, you get a lot of, well, not a lot, but a little bit of more additional work on the shoulders there. So another exercise that I do a lot are weighted lunges. So weighted lunges, I basically take like a bag on my shoulder, this bag over here, which is about 65 pounds, and I do lunges with it. So I don't know if you can see, you probably can't, but the shoulder again needs to lock a lot on that position in order to keep the back stable as you're lunging. You know, all of this locks. As you can see, this is the flexion I use during this exercise, and you can see that the posterior deltoid is definitely activated. So a lot of additional work from there. So this is going to be a pretty damn long video, but I just wanted to explain that, you know, it's just not about one exercise. It's about doing a lot of things, you know. Definitely focus on those handstand push-ups. That's where you're gonna get most of the action. After that, add some inverted rows. So if you do the handstand push-ups and the inverted rows, you'll be getting 50% of the results, and the other 50% of your results will come from all of the other tips I mentioned in this video. And you know, this is the approach I use in the superhero home workout, and that's one of the reasons I think I've got a ton, I know I've got a ton of muscle action during this last months. I hope this video helps. It's pretty damn long, but you know, you wanted all the secret tips for building some goddamn strong bowling ball looking shoulders. Leave me any questions you have, any more questions you have below, and until next time, keep on training, brothers.